Hi everyone, this is TOC number 3. We are going to be finding area and perimeter in these notes. So your essential question is, how do I find the area and perimeter of 2D figures? Question mark. Okay, so what is area? Area is the space inside a given figure. So if you were to think of a backyard, then the grass would cover the area. What is perimeter? That is the sum of all the measures of all the sides of a shape. This applies to shapes with straight edges only, so polygons. So if we're still using that metaphor of the backyard, then the fence surrounding the backyard would go around the perimeter. What is circumference? The distance around a circle. So kind of like perimeter, but for circles. Okay, so this is where your handy dandy formula sheet is going to come in hand. And so let's go ahead and grab that out. Let's get that blue formula sheet out so that we can use it to help us find area and perimeter. Okay, so on your formula sheet, when you look at the right triangle, you're going to see a capital A, and then you're going to see equals 1/2 BH. This is the formula for area. So let's go ahead and write it next to this right triangle. So A equals 1/2 BH. At the bottom of your formula sheet, there's like a little key. It tells you what each of these variables stand for. So the B stands for the base, which is this part right here. Okay, and so that is represented by 4. So we can go ahead and plug in 4 for our B, and then H represents our height. And so that's this side right here. So that's 12. And then all you do is you just plug these numbers into your calculator, you're multiplying, and you get area equals 24. And it didn't say like inches or centimeters, so we're just going to say units. And then when we're talking about area, we're covering a space. So it is 2-dimensional, so we need to put units squared. And that is your answer. Whereas perimeter would be going around the shape, so you're going to be adding up the sides. So I can start off with this side right here. So I'm doing 4.5 plus 7 plus 8.25. And when I plug that in my calculator, I'm going to get 19 75/100ths. Perimeter is 1-dimensional, right? We're just walking around. Okay, and so we don't need to put the square for the units. Okay, so now we're going to work with a rectangle. And to find the area of the rectangle, go ahead and look at your formula sheet. You'll see that it says A equals LW, that's L times W, that's length times width. Okay, there's an error with my document that I have online. Mine should say for the width 3.5. I think that's what yours says. Okay, so length is typically the long side, right? And so we're going to be doing 9 times 3.5. When we put that in the calculator, we get the area is 31.5 units squared. Circle your answer. Okay, so now we're going to find the perimeter, and you kind of have to use some prior knowledge. You need to know that with a rectangle, the opposite sides are equivalent in length, right? So this side should say 15 and 1/4. There's a little typo on my end, okay? And so then the opposite side is also 15 and 1/4. If you can label that, please. And then the width is 4, and so that means the width up here is also 4. So we're just going to add this up. So I have 15.25 plus 15.25 plus 4 plus 4, and that's going to give me 38 and 5/10 units. Circle your answer. Good job. Okay, so now we're going to be working with a trapezoid. Okay, and go ahead and look on your formula sheet. So let's first find the area. So area for trapezoid equals 1/2 h, and then in parentheses, b1 plus b2. Okay, so trapezoid has two bases. It has two sides that are parallel to one another, and so those are the bases. So it doesn't really matter which one you say is which, so let's just call 7 base 1, and let's call 10 base 2. Okay, you have something on your sheet that I don't have on mine, and that's the height. So the height is 8. Okay, and so that is represented with h. Okay, so let's go ahead and plug this stuff in. Okay, and we're going to follow order of operations, right? So we need to go ahead and do what's grouped together. Okay, and then we just have multiplying, so we can go ahead and like plug this into the calculator and multiply across. And so we're going to get area equals 68 units squared. Okay, now we're going to find the perimeter of this trapezoid. And so you can kind of see like the sides that are parallel. They're right here. Okay. And so we're going to walk around the trapezoid, and that's how we're going to get the perimeter. So let me start off with the side that's 4.7, and then go around to 7.2, and then 3.9, and then 8.4. So you just plug this into your calculator, and you get a sum of 24 and 2/10 units. And so also I wanted to say to you guys that area is two-dimensional because it's kind of like covering, whereas perimeter is just going on the edge. Area is length and width, so it has like two dimensions because it's talking about both the length and the width. All right, let's go ahead and flip to the back. All right, guys, so now we're on to the back, and we're going to talk about some circles. And so if we were to go from one end to a circle to the other with a straight line, then that would be our diameter, which is over here to the right. So if we draw an arrow, and this is our diameter, and we're going to represent that with a lowercase d variable. Half of that is our radius, okay? And we use a lowercase r to represent that. So it's important that we're able to identify what those variables represent, because we're going to use them in a lot of the formulas for circles. So this should have a little 6 right here for the radius. So if you look on your formula sheet, it says area equals pi r squared. And so what we're going to do is you can either plug in by using the pi button, or you can just do 3.14. That's rounded. And then our radius is 6. So in parentheses, I'm going to put 6 squared. 6 squared is going to give me 36. So I'm doing 3.14 times 36. And so that's going to give me 113 and 4/100 units squared. Okay, so now moving on to circumference, that is like the perimeter of a circle. And so if you look on your formula sheet, the formulas that you'll see for circumference are C equals 2 pi r, or you're going to see, I want you to write both of these down, C equals pi times d, which should make sense to you because 2r, 2 radius, is the length of the diameter. So that's why those formulas are equivalent to one another. So we're going to use C equals pi d because we are given the diameter, which is 11.5. Okay, so we're going to use 3.14 for pi, and then for the diameter, we're going to plug in 11.5. And go ahead and plug those into your calculator and multiply. When we do, we get C equals 36 and 11/100 units. Okay, lastly, our beautiful parallelograms. These are different than trapezoids, obviously, because both of our opposite sides are parallel to one another. And so for this one, we have our perimeter to the left-hand side. And so what you need to know is that opposite sides are equal in length. So when we walk around the perimeter of this parallelogram, this side is also going to be 6.2, and then over here we're also going to have 9.6. So when you walk around, you do 6.2 plus 9.6 plus 6.2 plus 9.6, and you're going to get 31.6 centimeters. Okay, so now over here we're going to do area, and when you look at the area for a parallelogram on your formula sheet, you're going to see area equals base times height. Okay, and so the base is like where it's the side where it's like on the foundation, where it's laying down at. And so based off of the way this one's oriented, we could say 5 is the base. So let's plug in 5 for our base and 2 for our height. This one's pretty easy, don't need Desmos. Okay, and so for our area we get 10 feet squared. Okay, guys, good job. The beautiful thing about this is that you have that formula sheet. You'll have it on the test day for this unit. You'll have it on SOL day. So just being able to use it and understand what everything on it means. Good job.